some internal emails from the EPA that I have acquired via a Freedom of Information Act submission.
Without objection, so ordered.
We have documentation here, emails from your senior advisor for Agriculture and Rural Affairs saying that you were meeting with the Bayer CEO last year. He said in these emails that they will be bringing up some legal/judicial issues. More specifically, in this internal email in your EPA, it says that Bayer was specifically seeking to and discussing Supreme Court action. They will want an update on EPA's regulatory review, and that, interestingly, Bayer will provide a small thanks for updating the glyphosate webpage from the EPA and work on MAHA. Do you have any idea what they might have been referring to in this email?
Well, first off, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's possible that the team was doing brainstorming of potential topics.
Okay.
As somebody who actually attended
Thank
the
you.
meeting.
I'm sorry, I just have 40 seconds. I'm not trying to be rude. This glyphosate update that they're referring to seems to be correlated to the EPA agency withdrawing its support for California's cancer warning on glyphosate. Now, this is important because 5 days after the EPO this year, Bayer filed their opening brief to the Supreme Court, citing Trump's executive order and hinging their case on the EPA's warnings or lack thereof of glyphosate. So we have internal emails from your agency saying that Bayer wanted to thank you and your agency for removing support for California's warning because their case before the Supreme Court right now hinges on you not warning the American people and withdrawing your support on glyphosate. Do you understand the conflict of interest that is before the American people right now, Mr. Secretary?
I understand.
The gentlelady's time has
You mind if I respond,
Thank you.
Chairman?
The gentleman may respond.
Okay. So right now, EPA is completing an assessment due in 2026. And I understand this is a very important topic for many people in this country. This review that the EPA is being conducted, my guidance to dedicated career staffers, and then we have people who have been there for 20, 30 years, is that I don't want to
It's taking a while, Secretary Zeldin, because
let me answer.
The Supreme Court is going to be making decisions this week, and Congress is voting this week on legal immunity.
Okay, but you made your point. Now, I'm asking, do you mind if I answer? This is an important part of this that I'm sure you also care
And I
about.
think the timing
time
is
has
also very
expired.
important, Secretary Zeldin.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
Thank you.
Should I complete my answer or no?
Mr. Administrator, you can respond in writing.
Sure. Okay.
By 33%. In fact, I have a jar right here. This is the current drinking water in Morgan County, Georgia, right after a data center was constructed. The metadata center was constructed. The only difference between the clean water and this was that data center. I have another one as well. So this wasn't just one well. These wasn't just one family's situation. This is what the drinking water now looks like next to that data center. And I think both of us can agree that neither one of these things are drinkable. These families now have to ship, in a rural area, have to ship water to their house in order to cook and bathe themselves. Now, I'm curious if the EPA plans any investigations on how data centers are affecting water quality and availability. I understand what you said about the rule, but are there going to be any open investigations on this issue?
So as soon as I get back to the office, I will be looking into exactly what you've just talked about, because anywhere, whatever type of construction it is a priority to ensure that water quality standards established by EPA are being met. And so we'll be looking into that certainly.
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that because I think this is of utmost importance, and we're seeing this happening across the country. I'd also like to ask about the administration's push to build more data centers by fast-tracking construction. Because the administration's been issuing executive orders to fast-track data center construction when we know that water quality is encountering major issues. Are there any mandates for data centers to do water quality testing prior to construction?
Of like coming from a public water supply, drinking water supply sampling?
Wells, yeah.
I'm not aware of anything like that. However, it doesn't mean I'm just not aware of it. Might exist,
Yes,
but I'm not
of
aware.
course. I think it's important that, you as an agency official, we have to make sure we're doing these investigations. And then us, on a congressional level, I'd like to note that I think it's of utmost importance that we also launch congressional investigations into this matter as well, so that we can partner with the EPA and ensure that the drinking water for this country continues to be safe and accessible for the American people. So thank you, Administrator.
Thank you.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just walked into a congressional hearing and completely changed the atmosphere in the room within seconds. Before we get started, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Because this wasn't one of those normal political arguments filled with vague talking points and partisan yelling. AOC showed up with actual internal EPA emails obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request, and once she started reading them out loud, you could see the tension hit immediately. Her accusation was explosive. She laid out a timeline suggesting Trump's EPA may have helped Bayer during a major Supreme Court battle over glyphosate, the controversial chemical tied to cancer lawsuits across the country. According to the emails, Bayer executives were allegedly discussing legal strategy and regulatory actions directly connected to the EPA's decisions on cancer warnings. And then AOC dropped the part that made the hearing spiral. She pointed to emails suggesting Bayer wanted to thank the EPA after the agency weakened support for California's cancer warning requirements, warnings that could directly affect Bayer's legal exposure in court. That's why this moment got so uncomfortable so fast. Because suddenly this wasn't just a debate about environmental policy anymore. It became a question of whether government agencies are protecting the public or protecting powerful corporations. And honestly, Lee Zeldin's response didn't help. Instead of directly shutting down the allegations, he tried to describe the emails as staff brainstorming. But AOC immediately pushed back because the issue wasn't hypothetical discussions. The EPA really did soften its position, and Bayer really is using those changes in court right now. Then the hearing took another dramatic turn. AOC held up jars of contaminated water from Georgia communities located near massive data center construction projects. Families, according to her, now have to bring in outside water just to cook and bathe. Visually, it was devastating. And it connected a much larger issue that's starting to explode politically across America, the race to build massive AI infrastructure while local communities deal with the environmental consequences. That's what made this hearing hit harder than most congressional moments. AOC wasn't arguing abstract ideology. She used documents, timelines, contaminated water, and real-world examples to create an image people instantly understand. And whether people agree with her politically or not, one thing became very clear during this exchange. The fight over corporate influence, environmental safety, and government accountability is only getting bigger from here.